part of the reason why we went into this is because we wanted to bring more utility to NFTs than what we saw like 3 years ago. We're like, NFTs can be so much more than just a JPEG, you know what I mean? And so we're like, we can embed AI into these things and give them true utility.
Hey folks, Flo here with Blockchain North. We're here at Futurist 2023, day number 2. I'm here with Brandon Da Silva, founder and CEO of AI Arena. Why don't you start with a 30 seconds intro, sort of your what, why, and where, something like that.
Sure, nice to meet you. I'm Brandon, I'm from AI Arena, I'm the founder and CEO. Prior to this, I used to be a quant, building machine learning strategies in the financial space. On my spare time, I always used to kind of build AIs for games, and so it was a natural progression. And essentially what we're building is AI gaming. We're doing a lot of things with it, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the interview, but some of the things that we're very passionate about is empowering AI talent that don't necessarily have opportunities, and also AI education.
So my understanding of AI Arena is that it sort of sits at the intersection of AI, blockchain, and gaming. Can you tell us a little bit more about it, and how do you navigate that sort of intersectionality, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. Why don't I explain the game of what we're building? So basically what we're building is a player versus player platform fighting game, where the intent is for you to train a fighter to learn how to fight, right? And so you do that by showing it how to fight. So you're actually playing a game, you're imparting your skills on this AI, and it's learning from you. It's almost like a child, right? You're teaching this child how to fight, and then it goes to fight other fighters from around the world that other people have trained, and that's kind of the idea. And as people are playing this game, we're sneaking in little tidbits of machine learning, so they're subconsciously starting to learn about this. And so that's kind of the AI and gaming aspect. And the way blockchain fits in is that we tokenize these AIs, right? So we have tokenized AIs, which you can think of as digital representations of your skill set that live on chain, which is really cool because you can imagine that you can accrue value of these NFTs over time as you keep training it, and they keep getting better and better and better.
And how unique is a game like this? I mean, and we're so happy to hear that it's Canadian, of course, but wondering what the space looks like competitively for Web3 gaming.
So there's certainly a lot of Web3 games coming out. We haven't seen anyone do what we're doing yet. I don't know if we will. Maybe we will. I'm sure if it's successful, a lot of people will try to do it. But specifically about training an AI to do something, where basically you are teaching it how to do something, we haven't seen anything like this. We've seen a few cases of some people trying to weave AI and gaming and NFTs together. It's quite different than what we're doing. Maybe for the naked eye, it might seem like, oh, they're doing these three things that are intersecting. They're similar, but really, like, when we look at it, and anyone that really understands like AI, they're like, okay, this is like very different than what they're doing.
So, as I was saying, you sit at this intersection between AI, blockchain, and gaming. Does that mean you have to like stay, I guess, at the very much at the forefront of all three technologies? Because that's, I mean, any one of them is quite complex to navigate, right?
That is an excellent question. So, I think we are staying at the forefront of the intersection of AI and gaming, rather than independently staying at the forefront of AI and at the forefront of gaming, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like a niche, basically.
Exactly. By combining them in a very unique way, we're doing what no one before us has done, right? With that said, we are innovating a lot on the machine learning front, because in order to enable what we're doing, we actually can't use techniques that are out there. We tried initially just using like a vanilla artificial neural network. It didn't work well, and I'm sure a lot of people that have domain expertise and try and apply neural networks will realize it's like you can't just use something out of the box. You have to understand the problem that you're trying to solve really well, and then create a bespoke solution for that. So we are still staying at the forefront of like machine learning with our sub niche, and we think we're staying at the forefront of gaming by introducing this cool AI thing in it. Obviously, we also think we're at the forefront of NFTs, because part of the reason why we went into this is because we wanted to bring more utility to NFTs than what we saw like 3 years ago. We're like, NFTs can be so much more than just a JPEG, you know what I mean? And so we're like, we can embed AI into these things and give them true utility.
Can you speak a little bit more to the potential, the disruptive potential of AI for gaming? I think most people, including myself, may be more familiar with the potential of AR and VR. because it's kind of something physical that you can put on your head and understand how that sort of changes your experience. But how do you see AI disrupting gaming in the coming, let's say, few years, given how fast it goes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I can start by just talking through how a lot of other people might be applying AI to gaming, because I think this is the low-hanging fruit. So what we see a lot right now is this boom in generative AI. And so you can imagine that one of the first things people can do is use generative AI to create art assets for games, right? Whether people like it or not, I'm sure people have an opinion on this, it is happening and it is transforming the gaming space. Similarly, people are using language models, so generative language models, so LLMs, to create intelligent NPCs, right? That's another way that they're embedding sort of like AI into gaming to really disrupt it. We actually don't operate in that space because one, we think it's very saturated. Anyone with an OpenAI API access can just embed it into their games, and we don't think it's differentiated. With that said, everyone is going to start doing it. What we see as the real disruptor of games is applying AI in really novel ways, right? Which is what we're trying to do. We're applying it in a way where it's almost like you build this parent-child relationship with this thing, right? And we can imagine there's a lot more ways that we can apply AI and to be very disruptive to gaming. We have ideas, but I don't know if we want to disclose them here. Well, maybe once we release them, we'll book another interview to discuss.
No problem. That sounds great. You're creating a bit of anticipation here. That's nice. More broadly, obviously, AI has been the talk of the town since the release of ChatGPT just in November last year, which is crazy, right? Just 9 months ago. I'm wondering what you see as the risks or maybe the challenges of AI as well. I mean, it seems like everyone is not just talking about it, but trying to integrate it in their business, in their lives.
Yeah, I think the immediate emotional response that people probably get is that their jobs are on the line over here, right? They're like, this thing is going to be able to do what I'm doing. It's already able to do what some people's jobs is. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned, I used to be in the financial markets. I'll tell you right now, this can replace a lot of analysts already, which is kind of scary. And even to the point where some people, they realize that right now they're still better than some of these AI models, but because of the exponential growth, they can see a path in the future where these things start to get better than them. And that's scary, and I fully empathize with that. So that's certainly one of the big challenges. I think a big opportunity, I mean, especially for us, but other people that are doing something similar, is to really educate people on AI, because I think people are really scared of the unknown, right? They don't really understand this tech, but they just see it doing these things. That's when you get the biggest emotional response, usually negative, right? And so what we're hoping to do is we want to educate the world on AI. And I think it's important for a lot of other people to start doing that so that people realize this thing isn't as scary as you think, and you can learn how to take advantage of this thing. A little anecdote, I actually used to be somewhat anti-AI, as weird as that sounds, almost like 8 to 10 years ago, because I wanted to go into a field. I wanted to be a value investor, and I was like, this AI can't do what I can do, and people were telling me it will be able to do what you can do. Fast forward a few years, I realized that it would be able to completely displace me, and I embraced it, and I completely shifted my career path. So I'm not saying everyone should do something so drastic, but at least understand this thing and know how you can work with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I was actually thinking it's also a lot about how you use AI, right? I mean, it's all about prompting and all about how you leverage the tool, because that's really what it is. That's my belief. Final question, what are your surest predictions for Web3 gaming or the Web3 space more broadly in the coming 2 years?
That is a great question. My predictions. My hopes is that we get really sustainable economies. I do think it'll happen because I hope people learn from history. And so, for example, you saw a series of unsustainable play-to-earn economies, right? What I hope is that people learn from that and build more sustainable economies where maybe not everyone gets to earn, you know what I mean? Yeah. You balance the economy in a way that is sustainable for the long run and not just like a quick pump, you know what I mean? That's certainly my hope, and I do truly believe it because I am optimistic that people will learn from history and design these better economies going forward.
Thank you very much, Brandon.
My pleasure.
It's a pleasure speaking with you.